Hi, this is Angel. This is my ninth day in a row making a video like this. And I'm really excited about that. Just like being more consistent and like sticking with it and just I'm just feeling good about it. So today, something that came up for me was allowing myself to relax and to be able to enjoy my time. This came up for me today because I had just kind of like more of a free day today. I wasn't working as much. It was just kind of like the start of the weekend, and I was able to like take the day to just kind of like rest and relax a little bit. Um, Recovering from chronic stress and recovering from like trauma and being able to come to like a more healed space, I realized that like there's so many things that I was kind of like keeping myself from doing, and I think being able to like relax and enjoy myself was really one of them. Um, Especially like if anyone's experienced like financial stress. I think sometimes I've been like in a state of mind where I've just been like almost like in a constant like state of worrying, just like anything that came up, just kind of feeling like, well, I can't afford that, so like I can't do that, or like even it keeping me from like having friendships or like separating me from like connection and relationships of just like feeling like, well, um I'm not in a place yet to be able to do the things that I want to, so I just need to like work nonstop until like I get there. And that's a really hard place to be in. It can be like a very isolating place to be in. Um, and moving out of that state of mind now too, I'm realizing that like there's still a lot of ways that I have put like a kind of like guilt on myself for like having relaxing moments or like enjoyment. There were times where like I could be having like a fun time or like being out or doing something that like a lot of people would like interpret as like fun, but for me like it just didn't feel fun because I always felt like I was behind in some way, or like there was always something that like I needed to get to or needed to do. And now I'm trying to really like reframe things and be in more of like a state of mind where I'm like in the present moment and I'm not fearing the future or like reliving the past so much. There are still like moments, like I had a really fun day today. I had a good day. I was like out and just a lot of different like activities, and um, I was able to like feel like relaxed, but there were still moments where like something would remind me of a past experience or remind me of like different things that had happened and like made me feel like emotional at the time, or I just was like making associations and connections to like places that reminded me of people. Um and I feel like in the past, I've really like let that drive me and I've just got kind of like lost in that. Or I could be having a good time, but like because I would be feeling these ways, it's like that would overshadow like my relaxation or my enjoyment. And today, like, there were still things that came up, but I was able to let it go a little easier. And part of it too, I was just like telling myself that like I can release, like I was giving myself permission to like release the past and not let the past dictate my next actions and like um what I'm choosing to do, how I'm choosing to pursue relationships now. It's like I'm in a different place now, and I can like acknowledge that and have some like trust in myself that I can manage and that I can recover. And I talked in the last video about how I'll probably make like more videos on like self trust. I think that building self trust has just like done so much for my mental health and for being able to like maintain relationships, like not having like so much like fear in relationships. Because that's like something that would come up for me a lot too, like dealing with issues around like anxious attachment, dealing with like abandonment issues, um, like not being able to like fully trust, like just like lots of things that I just kind of picked up after having, you know, negative experiences, um, having like cycles of experiences too. And so that being said, like, you know, we all experience like different kinds of traumas, and like that leads us to what our actions are and like how we move through the world. Um, and thinking about that too, I was just really like remembering that, like, okay, like, yes, I have lived through certain experiences that make it so that, like, maybe I have emotional ups and downs, but how do I, like, get to a place where I can still, like, have some enjoyment? And I'm not, like, so chronically stressed or just like always kind of finding the negative in a situation. Um, you know, I'll say it like as many times, you know, I'll just keep saying it like it's easier said than done. It really is. Like this kind of thing takes like practice, it takes work. Sometimes we're just like so tired, so burnt out, so exhausted, overwhelmed just like by life, and like the demands of life, and having experiences of like trauma like just make it that much harder to live day to day. um but I think that's even more of a reason to seek out enjoyment, seek out relaxation, seek out things that are gonna like make you feel even a little bit better. I had like talked in a previous video where like there was a period of time where I was really stressed out. I was having like interpersonal issues, like where I was living, and financial issues. Also, I felt like I was very alone. I felt isolated. I didn't feel like I had a lot of support. There were just like so many things that I was dealing with all at once. And over time, like I started seeing it show up in my body, like my hair. I was like dealing with like hair thinning. My body just like felt like very dehydrated. And I recently like learned this too, is like if you feel like you're consistently dehydrated, sometimes it is a result of like unbalanced hormones, or um, even being chronically stressed, because the body stops being able to like absorb the water and it's not reaching the cells. And I feel like I was experiencing that, where it was like no amount of water I drank like made me feel hydrated. Um, I could just like see it in like my face, like, and the way I felt too. Like I felt like very fatigued. I felt like I was like in a lot of physical pain all the time. And I've have chronic pain issues like from experiencing trauma as well, but I could feel that like I was dealing with like a lot of inflammation that was making it so that I was just like just not doing well, you know, like I just like weakened immune system, like all the things. And now like I feel like I'm actually at a place where like I feel a lot more healthy. Like my hair grew back. Like I can, feel like a little more hydrated. Like I've exercised and like, like I'm like trying to like maintain just a lifestyle where like I'm not in pain and like I'm not dealing with so many physical aspects of what it's like to be under a lot of stress. Um, I know that like sometimes the things that we deal with, like we don't have a choice. Like sometimes like living situations or where we work, like it feels like we don't have a choice in like how to get out of that. I've definitely like been in that before, and now that I'm in a place that feels like I can maintain a little bit better and I'm like starting to gain some stability, there's other things that come up like fearing if I'll be able to maintain it or just having like recovery time, recovering from what it was like when I didn't have my needs met or I didn't know how to meet my needs. Um, and I think in that space too, that's where like finding relaxation and enjoyment is super important. It's important like at any place, but I think like when we are living in so much anxiety and so much stress, it starts to affect the physical body and it starts to make it so that even when we are safe or stable, like we're still reliving that. And like that's like what trauma is. Like we're tending to a wound. It's like we have a wound that we are really reliving, even if we're not reliving the same experience. It's like that experience stays with us and it still affects like how we move, how we do things, like um what our day-to-day lives are like. And when we have moments of like being able to relax and like sometimes that relaxation too, I will say that like sometimes that comes after like emotional release. Like there have been moments where I feel really overwhelmed and like I just, like I just need to cry or like I just feel like I need to express how frustrated I am or like what I'm dealing with or like if I'm dealing with sadness or like being able to like express that can help like release it, and then that's when we're more open and like receptive to just like being able to relax and like have some moment where we feel like some sense of calm. um I think that like when we have experienced so much instability, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, like feeling like guilt or like feeling like fear, like, oh, if I enjoy this now, I won't be able to do something later, or if I, um, like, maybe I am in an experience that could be joyful or could be relaxing, but because I am so concerned with what the next thing is or being able to maintain it, it's almost like we don't feel it. Um, and that's kind of like it to me it kind of seems like similar to like how when we deal with chronic stress, like nutrients don't reach like our physical bodies. It's kind of like that too, where it's like if we have moments where we could experience relaxation or it could be joyful, but because we've been in like this cycle for so long, it's almost like you could have positive experiences and just like not feel them because you're not in like a place to be able to be calm enough to receive that. um And with that too, it's like so important to be able to have like a sense of groundedness, like have moments where even if you've been experiencing like a lot of worry, like being able to do breath work, like and anything to be able to get you back to the present moment, even for a little while. And that, I think that's like really helps just be able to allow the body to like repair and recover from having so many experiences of like heightened emotions. Because if we're living in that like over a prolonged period of time without like proper rest, it can be like it can just take like so much out of you. You know, it can lead to burnout, it can lead to exhaustion. And I've experienced burnout before where it's like it will take me like even longer to recover from even the amount of time that I was like prolonged under stress or like prolonged just like work or like feeling like overwhelmed. It takes like an even longer amount of time to recover from that. I was working for a long time of like a very like stressful job, like maybe like around like 2.5 years, where like I was working like long hours, like not really properly like tending to my physical body. Like I would have a lot of things that I would do to upkeep, but it just like what it never felt like it was enough. And I feel like those 2 years putting in that amount of work, like it took me like 3 years to even get back to a place. Like I don't think I ever like fully got back to a place where like I felt like fully recovered from that. But I think now I at least feel like I can um have a little bit more calmness in my body. I'm not dealing with like so much chronic pain. And I think that it is like a process. It takes like a lot of time to be able to get to that point. It took me a lot of time to get to that point. But it is possible. It is possible to like recover and heal and get to a place where like you can have some ease, some enjoyment, like some peace of mind. um, and I think that I'll probably like make more videos talking about like financial stress too. But I do think that like for me, having experienced like a lot of financial instability, being able to emotionally regulate and being able to feel like I have some sense of calm in my nervous system made it so that I was able to stabilize my finances a little bit more, or at least like see a way to change my situation. um, I know for a lot of people, it's kind of like the opposite. Like they need financial security first and then they're able to like emotionally stabilize. But I think for me, it was like almost like the opposite. Like I did like a lot of work as far as like telling myself affirmations, like making sure that I had some sense of like calm, being able to see like visualize and like see things in like a different way, um tying up like a lot of loose ends in my life, like not having like so many things to tend to, really like simplifying, downsizing, things like that. That made it so that I could stabilize a little bit internally. And I feel like once I started to feel like my nervous system was more regulated, I was able to start seeking out like some more opportunities or just like seeing different ways of like being able to work that worked for me. Um, so yeah, that's what came up for me today. I hope that was helpful, and stay chill. I hope that you can have a relaxing day or night, whatever time it is. And we'll chat soon.